You and I both know the Muslim Brotherhood already occupies parts of Washington and parts of this current administration. And my hunch is if Hillary Clinton is elected in 2016, the Muslim Brotherhood will stay in Washington. And I know that troubles you as much as me.
Oh, it does, because what most people don't realize is ISIS is an outgrowth out of the Muslim Brotherhood, just like Al-Qaeda and Hamas are. Actually, al-Baghdadi, the head of ISIS, was in prison in 2011 as a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. He was one of the leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood. And when he got out of prison, that's when he told the guard, I will see you in New York. All the leaders, for example, Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden was a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. Ayman al-Zawahiri was a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. So the Muslim Brotherhood is basically the mothership that launched all these Islamic organizations. It was founded in 1928 and has 70 offshoot Islamic organizations around the world, including Al-Qaeda and Hamas. Actually, in my book, They Must Be Stopped, I have a chapter on the Muslim Brotherhood and their plan, the Muslim Brotherhood Project, which is a 100-year plan for radical Islam to infiltrate and dominate the West and establish an Islamic government on earth. In the counterterrorism circles, Jan, it became known as the Muslim Brotherhood Project. Now, the project for the destruction of the United States in 1991, where they detailed tactics and proposals as to how to bring down America, where they detail how they want to put Muslim interns on all levels of government so they can have an insider view as to how policy is done on the highest levels. They talk about how they want to get democratically elected Muslims on all levels in the West. They talk about how to set up nonprofit organizations and human rights organizations and maintain the appearance of moderation in order to advance the radical Islamic agenda in the West. Actually, their plan is posted on our website, actforamerica.org. We have the plan up in English and in Arabic, and we also have the plan of ISIS, their 10-page plan, where they state their goal for the world. So for people who are interested in more detail, they can go to the website, actforamerica.org, and learn more.
Yeah, I encourage you to do that, folks. And if you've just joined me, you're listening to Understanding the Times Radio, and I'm Jan Markell. I have on the line a familiar voice now, Brigitte Gabriel. She's given you her website. I recommend both of her books. Her most recent is They Must Be Stopped. You can find them in any bookstore. I'll give more information on that just a little bit later. But first, I want to play a soundbite. Again, Brigitte, it is of you. And here's the issue that we're heading to in this little soundbite, and that is, I think the question comes to the minds of a lot of Americans, where are the so-called moderate Muslims? And you're having a little discussion here. Actually, it's a meeting, and I recognize Claire Lopez and Frank Gaffney and others are on this panel, and a Muslim addresses you, and I'll stop there and we'll just play this bite. It is almost 4 minutes, but it's extremely revealing, and when I come back, I want to ask you, because you raised the issue about this political correctness that's going to kill a lot of people.
My name is Saba Ahmed. I'm a law student at American University. I am here to ask you a simple question. I know that we portray Islam and all Muslims as bad, but there's 1.8 billion Muslim followers of Islam. We have 8 million plus Muslim Americans in this country, and I don't see them represented here. But my question is, how can we fight an ideological war with weapons? How can we ever end this war? The jihadist ideology that you talk about, it's an ideology. How can you ever win this thing if you don't address it ideologically?
Great question. I am so glad you're here, and I am so glad you brought that up because it gives us an opportunity to answer. What I find so amazing is since the beginning of this panel, which we are here about Benghazi attack against our people, not one person mentioned Muslims. We are here against Islam, or we're launching war against Muslims. We are here to discuss how 4 Americans died and what our government is doing. We were not here to bash Muslims. You were the one who brought up the issue about most Muslims, not us. And since you brought it up, allow me to elaborate with my answer. There are 1.2 billion Muslims in the world today. Of course, not all of them are radicals. The majority of them are peaceful people. The radicals are estimated to be between 15 to 25% according to all intelligence services around the world. That leaves 75% of them peaceful people. But when you look at at 15 to 25% of the world Muslim population, you're looking at 180 million to 300 million people dedicated to the destruction of Western civilization. That is as big of the United States. So why should we worry about the radicals, 15 to 25%? Because it is the radicals that kill. Because it is the radicals that behead and massacre. When you look throughout history, when you look at all the lessons of history, most Germans were peaceful, yet the Nazis drove the agenda. And as a result, 60 million people died, almost 14 million in concentration camps, 6 million were Jews. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. When you look at Russia, most Russians were peaceful as well. Yet the Russians were able to kill 20 million people. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. When you look at China, for example, most Chinese were peaceful as well. Yet the Chinese were able to kill 70 million people. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. When you look at Japan prior to World War II, most Japanese were peaceful as well. Yet Japan was able to butcher its way across Southeast Asia, killing 12 million people, mostly killed with bayonets and shovels. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. On September 11th in the United States, we had 2.3 million Arab Muslims living in the United States. It took 19 hijackers, 19 radicals to bring America down to its knees, destroy the World Trade Center, attack the Pentagon, and kill almost 3,000 Americans that day. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. So for all our powers of reasons and us talking about moderate and peaceful Muslims, I'm glad you're here. But where are the others speaking out? And I assume, are you an American? You're an American citizen. So as an American citizen, you sat in this room and instead of standing up and saying a question or asking something about our 4 Americans that died and what our government is doing to correct the problem, you stood there to make a point about peaceful, moderate Muslims. I wish you brought 10 with you to question about how we can hold our government responsible. It is time we take political correctness and throw it in the garbage.
Well, Brigitte, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Do you think it will? I don't think so.
That's not going to happen, but I believe if enough Americans organize and come together and pressure our elected officials, we will be able to influence policy regardless of how many spineless leaders we have in Congress right now. Because that's exactly what's happening, Jan. And this is exactly why I founded ACT for America. ACT for America is a lobbying organization. Right now it has 300,000 members nationwide and 890 chapters across the country. We passed 37 bills in 19 states in the last 5 years. So it doesn't take many to make a difference. It only takes a dedicated few. So political correctness will always be among us, and we will always have cowards, elected officials who lick their fingers, stick it up in the air, and see how the wind is blowing so they can vote accordingly. Our job as American citizens is 1, we need to be informed, 2, we need to be activated, and 3, we need to take action and call our elected officials and let them know why we support or not support a certain bill coming for a vote and impact legislation before a bill is voted on, not after. And that's exactly what Act for America does, and that's exactly why I ask people, if my message resonates with you, if you feel as passionate about the issue of national security as I feel, if you are sick and tired of political correctness as I am, then join us. Go to actforamerica.org. We are the largest national security grassroots organization in the country. We are building the NRA of national security, and we need you with us.